Today's story comes from the the A-hole subreddit and was posted by Bagels4Works and was titled, "Would I be the holy if I, 34 female, asked my husband's 35 male family to pay for an emergency visit which happened under their care? This weekend, my daughter, Ava, 13 female, wanted to go over to her grandparents' house to spend some time with her grandparents. My sister-in-law, 30 female, was also visiting the grandparents' house and had her coonhound named Ella. Everything was going okay. My husband and I were out enjoying a date night when we got a message from Ava that Ella tried to lunge at her, but the grandma got between them. Then we get an update 2 minutes later that the dog had bit Ava and she was bleeding. We want to go pick Ava up. There was a lot going on at the grandparents' house that day. My husband started freaking out and yelling on the way there. So I told him we should be more empathetic because the grandparents did not want this to happen either, and they are having a hard time too. My sister-in-law's dogs have a history of behavioral health problems. I actually was bitten by their other dog unprovoked 2 years ago as well. However, I chalked it up to me not being smart and approaching their dog, and the dog didn't break skin. I'm a little more than frustrated that if they knew the dog had issues that it was allowed to roam the house. This dog has barked at Ava before, and it also got the grandparent in the face last night, but did not break skin. We get Ava and go home. The dog bite was on the back of the knee, and the dog did puncture skin in one spot. The puncture was pretty deep, and after an hour, it was still bleeding. I called a nurse line through my insurance, and the nurse assessed us and recommended we go into the emergency room within the hour. The emergency room did a CAT scan because the bite was right on a joint. The emergency room decided not to stitch the wound, but they cleaned it and gave us antibiotics. Ava is okay. She had a lot of adrenaline, but she is resting at home in her room, and she is sore. The following day, I started talking to my husband about how much this is going to cost us, and how he should talk to the brother-in-law/sister-in-law when he gets back in town, or talk to his parents about homeowners insurance to see if they could help. My husband doesn't want to ask for any financial help, stating that his parents wouldn't ask us if it was reversed and his sister does not work, so they don't have money. I countered with his sister and brother-in-law, just decided to buy a house worth double the value of their previous home this year. Their home was fine, and they just upgraded, and that we could probably work out something together. He told me I have always hated his family and that I'm coming after them. I told him that's not true. For example, I talked to his mom more than he does, and I was the one who calmed him down before we got to their house. I was the one who sat with his family and calmed them down and gave everyone hugs and told everyone it was okay, and accidents happened. That one really hurt. We have had major difficulties with his family in the past, but we have all grown, and I really do try to do my best. Also, I would like to say that we do have a difficult relationship with the sister. The dynamic between the sister and her parents is very weird because she has health issues. She is prioritized a lot. It has happened multiple times where the sister is chosen over us. This makes asking for this even harder, as I know what is going to happen. Also, the grandparents have rented out a condo to go to the beach in a few months out of their own pocket for a family vacation for all of us. So it's difficult to want to put a financial burden on someone else. I'm not asking for someone to write me a check tomorrow. Ava is safe and at home. Bills aren't due immediately, but I'm asking my husband to consider asking his family for help since it was something that happened under their care at their home with their dog. In our state, the dog owner is liable for the bite. I would like to have the family consider if the home insurance would help, or if there is a way where some money can be set aside for payments. I have a high deductible plan. I have been sued for my medical debt twice by this hospital for unpaid bills, and I don't want to do it again. It is a big financial burden for us, but we want to make sure Ava was okay. I don't feel like we should have to front the bill. Verdict: not the a-hole. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, not the a-hole. Sister-in-law should be paying the bills, and her dog should be put down. Oprah replied, they were talking about putting down the dog in front of Ava too. They're in the country, always at home, so I don't want them to put down the dog and Ava feel like it's her fault. They just need to find ways to keep the dog restrained away from other people or get the dog behavioral help. Commenter 2 says, I would get ahead of this and explain things that might happen to your daughter when she's had a bit to adjust. Make sure she knows that whatever happened/happens isn't her fault. No contact between her and sister-in-law/brother-in-law. Also, I would make sure this hasn't completely caused a fear of dogs. They're everywhere, and I hate to see people afraid of them. Hope replied, "Thank you. I already talked to her a bit about it. We actually have our own doggies, 2 labs. When we got home last night, she cried and was loving on them. I think that will help her fear. I was also bit by a dog a few years ago and a cat. And my mom was bit by a dog as a kid. I guess we have bad luck. What I'm saying is I understand how traumatic it can be, so I'm trying to help her out." Commenter 3 says, Ava said she feels it was her fault. What happened prior to the dog lunging? For example, was the dog napping and she stepped on the tail when trying to pass the dog? Hope replied, "No, she just feels guilt. It was unprovoked." We had the same story from everyone involved. Ava was cutting apples. The dog howled at her. They thought the dog needed to go potty, so the sister-in-law took the dog out. The dog came back in, went back up to Ava. Ava jumped back a little bit because she was scared and the dog lunged for her. Commenter 4 says, "You are not wrong for wanting help at the bill, but it should be the sister-in-law that you ask for it. It's her dog, and the grandparents' homeowners shouldn't have TOB used. It will increase their homeowner's insurance." Hope replied, "That makes sense to me. The in-laws always help out the sister-in-law because they're always talking about how they don't have money. Again, I don't know their financial situation, but they did buy a new house. I would like my husband to call the brother-in-law when the brother-in-law gets back in town. He is the one who manages the finances and works. Also, he is the level-headed one, so I think it'd be easier to approach. I don't want their insurance to go up either. I was just thinking maybe it wouldn't be as much of a burden to the sister-in-law if the insurance covered it. I also highly expect the grandparents to try to pay for the sister-in-law if they knew we were asking for money, which I don't want them to have to do." Commenter 5 says, "You are totally enabling both irresponsible and potentially dangerous behavior. Stop justifying a dangerous dog, an irresponsible owner, and start protecting your kid." Hope replied, "Okay, well, I will go scorched earth. My husband will hate me. My in-laws will not invite us to vacation that's supposed to happen in September on my daughter's birthday, and I'll put a huge dent in my marriage and family relationships. It's not easy to make decisions. It's not black or white." Commenter 6 says, "Tell the sister, if she doesn't pay the bills, you will report the dogs. Side note, the dogs should be reported though." Hope replied, "Fully agree. However, they live 2 hours from us, and she doesn't drive, so I'm not sure how that works. Should I report to their county?" Commenter 7 says, "I would say you need to not bring your daughter there again until she pays. Maybe be more subtle and a GoFundMe. I hope animal control is involved." Hope replied, "I totally get that too. I hesitated even letting her go this time. My mom's senses were tingling, but she is also 13, so I try to let her have a bit of decision-making abilities." Commenter 8 says, "Everyone sucks here. You literally left your child in a home where dogs roam freely and you have been bitten. So this is a known issue. The greater assholes are the owners of dogs that attacked humans. You report the bite to the authorities, you sue them for compensation, and you move on with your life. Their dog hurt someone. It's their responsibility to pay for damages." Hope replied, "It's fair to say that, and it's okay to judge. However, we did not know the dog would roam free. When the dog is at the in-laws, it's typically outside on a lead or in a cage. Again, my mom's senses were tingling, but it was an accident all around. No one wanted it to happen. Their other dog who bit me passed away of health issues. This was a communication issue on my part, so I could see your point. I should have confirmed the dog would be put up. I just assumed the best and didn't expect the worst. They are still family, and I trusted them." Commenter 9 says, "If you've been sued twice for unpaid medical bills, why have you not gotten PPO insurance instead of high deductible? So you don't have bills you can't pay? This is something I'd 100% have my own health insurance pay. It wouldn't even be a second thought. If it were a stranger's house/stranger's dog, maybe I'd think about having their homeowner's insurance cover it, but not if it's family." Hope replied, "It costs 200% more to be on PPO. It would be an extra $450 a month. It's a lot, and even with PPO, it's still a $2,000 deductible, then $80 on 20 coverage instead of $6,000 plus the extra premium. It would actually cost about the same out of pocket in the end. Even if I had PPO today, I'd still end up paying. OP on increasing insurance to cover the hospital costs when the dog bites someone. she and her family could make an insurance claim to cover Ava's situation. Hope replied, "That's how I wanted to approach it. I know and no one wanted this to happen. I don't want to point fingers, but I want to say, can you check your insurance to see if we can submit claims for dog bites? Or something to that matter." Update 1. Hi all. Yesterday, I posted about my daughter Ava being bit by my sister-in-law's dog. I deleted the post because it's been a very emotional few days, and frankly, I couldn't handle the internet. A lot of you said to validate that the dog was vaccinated for rabies. I'm so thankful for everyone's seriousness because IT wasn't vaccinated. Today, I called the sheriff and reported the bite so we could take next steps to make sure the dog is quarantined and managed appropriately. I told the family, so they were aware. I'm following up with Ava's primary care tomorrow to see what the medical opinion is on if we should go ahead and get the rabies shot. Their office is closed now, or else I call now. My husband went over to their house today and confirmed the sister will pay our bills. This was covered without any hesitation. I'm still not okay with my husband's response. We slept apart last night, and we have therapy this week which we'll use to find a way to heal. Lastly, and sadly, the family has canceled the vacation, which we figure would be the response. Thank you again for really pushing for the confirmation on vaccines. We are taking every step to make sure that the dog is quarantined, and our daughter's safety is the top priority. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, "People focus so much on don't ruin the family relationship until someone's kid is the one taking the risk. A vacation being canceled is a consequence, not a tragedy." Hope replied, "Understand, there's only one life and vacations will come back. Ava's health matters the most. I won't say I'm not bummed, but it will all be okay." Opie responded to multiple comments on waiting to ask her daughter's doctor about the rabies shots instead of getting them immediately. Hope replied, "Hi, I'm not sure I understand what you mean on vaccinating my child to begin with. It's not a preventative shot that's offered here. We did not know the dog was unvaccinated until tonight, and I followed up with a nurse and medical advice and the sheriff. I'm following exactly what the medical professionals are telling me to do. I absolutely promise I don't want my daughter to die of rabies, and I'm doing everything in my power to protect her." Yep, exactly. The dog is quarantined. There's a reason dog to human rabies transmission is low in the US. It's because our system works, and I'm following the system and every single professional's advice I've gotten in the last 24 hours. I'm doing everything I can. That's good to know. Thank you for sharing. I'm following up again with her primary tomorrow, and we have an appointment Thursday, so I will get medical advice on next steps on what to do. I'm following the instructions I've been given, but I will see if I can get a hold of an on-call pediatrician. I just called the nurse line for her pediatrician, and I'm following protocol from animal control and the nurse. Opie on why Ava wasn't vaccinated against rabies prior, and whether that is a routine vaccine where Opie lives. Hope replied, "What do you mean, not vaccinated my kid? You've said this twice. I'm not against vaccinating my child. I have an appointment on Thursday with her primary. I called the emergency on-call nurse tonight. I called the sheriff's office, I called my animal control, and I'm calling her actual pediatrician again tomorrow. I am following every single professional person's directions." Okay, got it. Agree in the US, it's not even offered or talked about. I just got our 12-year shots last summer. We don't have that option here. Commenter 2 says, "What the hell? No rabies vaccine. How irresponsible are the owners of the dog?" Hope replied, "I agree. I was so angry I hung up on my husband when he told me. OP on the family being irresponsible for not keeping up with the dog's vaccines." Hope replied, "I agree. I guess they took this dog to the vet multiple times this year, and the shot wasn't offered, but it is on the owner as well for not understanding. The rabies vaccine here comes with a paper and a tag." Commenter says, "Just confirming, that dog's probably dead, right? There's no other way to check for rabies than dissecting the brain, is there?" Hope replied, "It's not dead. In our area, you have to quarantine it for signs of rabies for 10 days. This is why I'm also calling Ava's doctor to follow medical advice." Update 2. Hi all. I thought that things may finally calm down and go back to normal for our little family. Boy, was I wrong. Ava had a follow-up appointment today with her pediatrician, and the pediatrician stated as long as the dog is quarantined, Ava doesn't need to go get the vaccine. The hard part has been getting the status updates about the dog. The sheriff's department has been less than helpful, and unable to provide any status update on our case. We have called at least 5 times and received no update. Thanks, and I've reached out to the county health department, and they're now escalating and helping us investigate the dog's status so we can monitor. Unfortunately, because we couldn't find out the status of the dog, we did reach out to mother-in-law as a third party to see if they had any information to provide to us, and that conversation did not go well. The mother-in-law first asked us if we were recording. Multiple times they have implied that we were going to sue them. She also stated that she would have not called animal control. She was being very defensive about giving us status updates on the dog. We finally found out the dog is quarantining at home, and the sister-in-law has to send pictures to the sheriff every day of the dog, or else it will get taken. I don't trust this. The sheriff's office didn't even call us back, and no one had any notes in our case. With that being said, I'm going to talk to my husband about going ahead and getting the vaccine for our daughter. On top of that, we learned that vacation was canceled because the in-laws didn't know how the brother-in-law will feel. I told them we already bought our plane tickets, so we're going no matter what. If they show up, great. If not, they can stay home and pay our medical bills and watch us have a vacation. Please note, I'm not implying that vacation was the most important thing. I just want to add context of how the parents seem to care more about their daughter's feelings than the health of their granddaughter. I'm going low/no contact with this family. Our entire family has been traumatized. I have lost sleep. I can't concentrate at work or on my college work. I've spent my days in tears over this. When my husband comes home, I'm going to see about taking Ava back out to the emergency room to get the shot. We can't even get information from them. We can't trust it. They can pay another $3,000 of bills while we enjoy our little family vacation without them for Ava's birthday in September. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, there is strict liability with dog bites. If they don't pay up, sue them. Period. These people suck. Not the a-hole. Hope replied, they don't realize how lenient we are being with them. They do suck. Commenter 2 says, time to stop being lenient, OP. The time for talking is done. Now is the time for scorched earth. Hope replied, with all the impact it's had, I could own their damn house. Emergency room, checkup, meds, possible another emergency room visit, and therapy for all of us. Commenter 3 says, I'm still trying to figure out why you left your child with a dog that you stated sister-in-law's dogs have a history of behavioral health problems. I feel bad for the child, surrounded by all the a-holes. Commenter 4 says, while it's no excuse, I do want to point out that OP is part of a family system that has normalized this reckless behavior. When everyone else around you perceives a situation as normal, you very quickly become the problematic one for taking issue. It's easy to become forced to choose between going along with things at the insistence or reassurance of others, or risk being labeled as dramatic. OP's husband was so quick to accuse her of hating the family when she reacted appropriately following the bite. While I can easily say that I'd rather be viewed as a drama queen and keep a child safe, the choice might not seem as clear-cut after so many years of dealing with those people. It becomes really easy to call your own judgment into question and think things like, maybe they're right, maybe I'm being over the top. Hope replied, it's really hard, I feel insane. Again, I know where I went wrong, and I'm not shying away from that. But it's like 10% my fault comparatively. I didn't leave my toddler in a room with an aggressive animal and lock the door. I left my almost 14-year-old in the care of her grandmother and her aunt when she asked me to go over. I didn't think to communicate about the dog because I thought she was safe. I am a human. I am a person. I thought I could trust the people who are family who have been in my family for 20 years. I thought the dog would be put up. Accidents happen. Do you not think I don't feel guilty enough about this as a mother? You can shame me from the internet as long as you want. Commenter 5 says, not the a-hole. Go to the local news and your local representatives. Get as much pressure on the sheriff to get you actual updates on the dog. Time is critical now. Hope replied, this county is getting a ton of heat for a murder investigation that's gone horrible. I'm hoping that since I called the health department, they'll light a fire under their ass. They seem to take my information and claims seriously. Commenter 6 says, I also got bitten by an unvaccinated dog. Sounds like you're doing all the right things. Although I am surprised the emergency room didn't report the bite themselves. Funny enough, I was advised against rabies vaccine, probably because I'm a grown-ass woman. Hope replied, everyone has said that. They are surprised that the emergency room didn't do anything. The health department is calling the communicable disease nurse at the hospital. They are really taking everything seriously for me. Utmost respect for the nurse at the health department. The second story is from Relationships subreddit. It was posted by Pretty Moonlight and was titled Me, 23 female, with my boyfriend, 24 male, of 2 years. Says I ruined his best friend's party. I have been dating David, 24 male, for 2 years. He lives about 20 minutes away. He has told me he resents the fact my parents paid for my schooling, which is partially true. They cut me a check after I graduated. I worked long hours and got scholarships/loans to help pay for it. I didn't even know they had a college fund for me. He also has said he hates how spoiled I can be. I moved into my grandmother's house 3 years ago. My mom hates the house, and since it is not the prettiest home, she let me live there. She then signed the house over to me when she moved across country for work. I have a full-time job with good benefits and have worked my ass off to pay my bills, save money, and fix up the house. Most of my spare time is done making the house as nice as possible. I even installed a wood floor myself. David says I don't know how to work hard, but I have 40 to 50-hour weeks and have a high-energy job. I have told him the comments were not appreciated and he stopped, but he has made snarky comments a few times. I do love David, but sometimes he can get carried away trying to be the life of the party. David asked if he could have some friends over to my house. It was supposed to be a surprise gathering for his friend Mike. It was a cake, some pizza, a few beers, and presents, so pretty casual. I knew all the people he was inviting, and he told me he would clean up. Then he asked if I would go out for the night, so he could have the house to himself. I told him I was not comfortable with that, and I didn't want to leave my own home. I asked why I couldn't be there. He didn't have a real answer, and said he just wanted to feel like he had his own place. It was a pretty sketchy reply, and I told him I wanted to socialize with Mike as well. I like beer. I like pizza. I love cake. David acted like he had the right to think about it. I told him that I was either going to be included or he could find somewhere else to party. He told me I was being controlling. He said I should trust him. I said my house, my rules, which might have been pretty bitchy to say, but I didn't see why I had to vacate my own home on a Friday and go somewhere when there would be people I liked and who liked me at my house. I knew Mike before I knew David, and we were still good friends. Plus, there were going to be other girls there, so it was not like he wanted a guy's night. Even then, I didn't think I needed to leave. He could do it at his own apartment. I then told him that I wanted everyone to leave by 10 p.m. The gathering started at 5 p.m., so I thought that was plenty of time. David got so upset he left the room, but he eventually told me that he would respect my rules, even though I was acting like his mom. He told me he resents that I have to remind him to be an adult. Friday comes and is a fun time. We shoot the shit. There are 8 people total. Everyone, minus Mike and his wife, leave at 9:30 to 10 p.m. Everyone pitches in a cleanup. Mike thanks me for the party, and his wife is asking if I want to hang out another day. David's phone rings, and he answers it. He starts talking like, sure, man, and come on in. I hear what sounds like a horn honking, and then a car pulling up. I have a gravel drive, so you can hear the rocks crunching, and the lights flash into the living room. I ask David if he's going somewhere, and he sort of looks guilty. He tells me he invited some guys over, and that they were just going to chill for like an hour or two. I told him that I didn't want more people in the house, that he needed to ask me to invite people over. He snapped, I pretty much live here. I have a right to invite people over. Pretty much live here is 2 days a month when he can spend the night. The other times I visit him between work and classes, or we go on late dates. But I usually spend the night at his apartment. It is closer to work. Someone knocked, and I told David not to answer the door. I told David he needed to get his friends out of here and leave. I was done playing host. David ended up calling me a selfish bitch and got his things leaving. I got a call at 3 a.m. from David asking me to pick him up at his friend's because he was too drunk to drive home. I told him to sleep it off. So David came by Saturday around noon and proceeded to tell me I ruined his night and he didn't know how he could forgive me for this. He said I was a terrible person for embarrassing everyone like that, and Mike had called to say he was upset. How could I do that to him? How could I be so selfish? Then he told me, we will live here one day, so you should get used to having my friends over. I told my friend, and she said I probably ruined a good time and said I had overreacted. But I don't think I did. I didn't want them there. I had shit to do in the morning, and I didn't want people crashing on my couch, using my house as their whiskey hotel. I am tempted to break up with him over this. Is it a stupid reason? Did I act like a bitch? I am pretty bad at socializing and am pretty shy, so I could have been wrong, but I don't feel like I was. Relevant comments. Opie explains the 10 p.m. cutoff and her dislike of alcohol. Ope replied, I said to another person, I worked 54 hours this week. I am in bed at 9 p.m. most nights and up at 6. I understand she's so young and she should let people crash on her couch, but I am introverted. I don't like drinking. My dad did it a lot, and it makes me nervous. And the point of the party ending that early is so people wouldn't get drunk and crash on my couch. I have never been one for big parties, and Mike is the sort of guy who feels the same. No one was drunk. Everyone was a little older in the group. Most people are 30, and everyone works. So it's not like they all wanted a smashing party. Update 1. I was asked to give an update. So here it is. I called Mike and asked him if he spoke with David. He said he did, but that it was for maybe 5 minutes. They made plans to go golfing, but Mike turned him down because he felt uncomfortable with how David was acting. It was not even about the party. He told me the last time he went out with David, they went to a bar with some of David's work friends, which included a few of the younger girls at his work. I have no problem with this, and David did not cheat. The girls, however, were pretty wild and got smashed. David did not want to leave the bar, so he called some friend to pick them up. Then he took Mike over to his friend's house. These were some of the same guys he tried to get over at my house. Mike ended up leaving because they were making crude jokes about Mike's wife and were smoking pot. He said the way David treated him made him feel uncomfortable, and the party had been the last straw because David spent the time he wasn't with me complaining about how immature and stupid I was. Mike said we were cool and he would love to hang out with me another time, but he needed to stay away from David. It seemed pretty much to be, if David is still your boyfriend, peace out. I ended up inviting 2 friends over for lunch on Sunday last, and we talked about David for almost 3 hours. I told them everything about the party and the way he had been treating me. I repeated some of the things he said, and it all just kind of clicked. I didn't want to be with someone who was a total child. I felt oddly liberated thinking that, and my stress just slipped off. I knew in that moment that I wanted nothing to do with him again. I was done, and it was time to end it. I guess, deep down, part of me had already been letting go after the party. David ended up texting me while my friends were over asking if he could borrow my gas card. I have never let him take card for me to use because I feel like that is asking for trouble, even with people I have known a long time. I told him he should come by and we could talk about it. My friends insisted on staying to offer moral support, but would be in the next room. It was actually easier than I thought it would be. He came in, asked for the card, and I told him that it was over. He was not getting the card, and I never wanted to see him again. I told him to keep the $200 he owed me. I didn't need it. He told me he wanted his movies back. I gave them to him, and he left. 2 days later, he texted and called me about 30 times asking for me back. He needed me. He loved me. He wanted to be with me. I found out that he was late on rent, spent most of his money partying, and that he had hoped to borrow it from me. I owed him. I blocked his number. He showed up at my house twice, but telling him through the door I would call the police made him leave. I had yet to see him again. I'm not sure what is going on in his life, but fuck him. So that is the update. I am now single, focusing on work. I have plans to take a trip. Someone is watching my house for me and knows not to let him in. My friend Amelia and I are going to the mountains. I got a facial massage. The tension was pretty thick, and Marcus cut right through it with his magic hands. And I am now a redhead. I have also had the locks changed and arranged to see a therapist. I have taken extra shifts at work and gone out with friends. I have a gathering in a few days with some other friends, Mike included. It feels nice, but I'm sure at some point, when the victory has worn off, I will likely have a good cry about it. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Update 2. It has been a while, and I'm not sure if anyone remembers me. But I wanted to update. David, my ex, got arrested for drug possession and is facing a felony charge. He threw a brick through my window. I had a 2-week period where he was aggressively stalking me and would follow me to work. Either way, he has been in jail for a long time. I started dating someone else pretty quickly after, and things have been going well. My new partner is also like me and likes to go to bed early and wake up early. We spend a lot of time together on the weekends, and the time we are apart, he always sends me cute texts and makes sure to remember small things. I like him a lot better than David. I guess I just wanted to give an update. Thank you all so much for the support.